right. Four Corner Sports. It is currently Wednesday, the 17th. We got playing games starting tomorrow. It feels like Christmas Eve, waiting for Santa to show up tomorrow. So I'm very excited about that. Just got off work. I have until Tuesday off, going to Vegas to make some bets on these games and enjoy the festivities. You're getting excited there, Nolan?
Oh, I am so excited. I don't get to go to Vegas, but
I know it's crazy how this season might play out with the whole in one location. You're not going to have travel. I don't know if it's going to be extremely different than past years, if it's going to be similar. If we're going to see, a lot more of the top seed domination or not, or if it's going to be a lot of upsets. It's going to be one of those years that's unpredictable, similar to every March Madness, but this one in particular. But today I figured I know we've both already filled out a bracket, but you're going to fill out a new one here and just kind of go down the list, talk about teams that we like, matchups we're looking at, maybe some betting lines, and then just kind of give you guys an idea of things we look for when filling out our bracket, teams we like, teams we don't like. That's pretty much it. I mean, we can go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
yeah, I'm ready now. I guess we'll start at the West bracket. So we got Gonzaga against the two Norfolk or Appalachian State. Who do you like on that one? I'm pretty sure it's going to be Gonzaga. That's a pretty easy one. I don't think
It is Gonzaga. I did put a little bet on Appalachian State, so hopefully they pull through, but I don't think there's going to be argument from anyone. I know it happened with Virginia, but I am not going to try to predict a miracle this season.
Yeah, I agree on that one. And that was the game against Virginia. That was once in a lifetime. I think that was the first time ever.
Yeah, it is.
So we'll move to the next game, Missouri against Oklahoma. I have Missouri winning this. I haven't been a huge fan of Oklahoma all season. How do you feel on this one?
Yeah, so with my particular bracket, what I like to do, because it's very hard to not have like recency bias on what's happened. I kind of look at my favorite conferences. I play that way. The reason I'm going Missouri on this one instead of Oklahoma, even though I like the Big 12 better, is because of Oklahoma's second leading scorer, Harmon, is out for at least the first two games due to COVID troubles. So that really puts them behind the eight ball. Plus, they've been struggling the past 2 weeks. So I think I'm rolling Missouri as well.
Okay, good. I like that. Talk about the little barking fiasco. Freaking dogs don't know how to shut up.
He's excited for the tournament tomorrow.
I know. He's like, oh, don't pick Oklahoma. Don't pick Oklahoma. All right. So this is a big one that a lot of people are seeing. The first upset of the March. Creighton at Santa Barbara against Santa Barbara. I mean, yeah, Creighton did lose in the Big East tournament title game, a blowout by Georgetown. But at the same time, Santa Barbara's been playing really, really, really good. And everyone says this is their year that they can actually upset. They have great shooters. How they play the game is so well. They slowed it down the ball and everything. But, man, yeah, I do understand Creighton got blown out. I don't think this is where you pick your first upset. To me, I like Creighton on this one.
Yeah, it's I've heard it as a popular upset pick. If you click on that little info tab on that matchup real quick, I know that Creighton had troubles, obviously, in the Big East Championship. They got destroyed by Georgetown, but they did get there. They beat UConn on their way there. I know their coach went through some issues. He's back. And I think that this is a team that doesn't want to go out that way, getting blown out in the Big East Championship. I think they bounce back big. And this is one that I'm looking for when I'm in Vegas. I know people are going to keep driving that line down. I think it's down to 5 or something now. Bettors are just loving this upset, but I'm leaning Creighton. They got two great guards who can shoot, and a great coach still. So I think I'm rolling with Creighton. I for some reason I just really like Creighton. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And I keep watching everyone else's shows and everything. I'm just like, man, they are so against Creighton, but I really like Creighton. Just how they play, their offense is so good. So I agree with you on that one. I like Creighton on this one.
Yeah. And then I think, yeah, UMBC, they haven't played an opponent in the top 75 of the net. So, I mean, you can pick that upset all you want, but in reality, I mean, they have 4 losses outside the top 75 net, and you're looking at a Creighton team that's, you know, beaten some pretty good teams this season. So I don't know. I think it's a stretch this year.
Yeah, I agree. And also, guys, Creighton did lose to Kansas by 1 point. So, I mean, they can play at the Big 12. So it's showing that Creighton does have weapons.
For sure.
So for the next game, we got Virginia and Ohio. I'm excited to see what you're going to say on this one.
Well, I guess I'll go first then. So Virginia has been, ever since they got put out of the ACC tournament, they've been on a COVID pause, quarantining. They haven't been able to practice. They're traveling a little light on players. So they're running a short bench. Most of their impact players are still there, so that won't be an issue in particular. But I don't know, a week off for COVID, no practice before the tournament, that has to wear on you. I think they're flying out to the tournament on Friday. And then they play, I believe, Saturday. So it's just a quick turnaround, tough. And then you throw an Ohio team, one of the top 15 most efficient three-point shooting teams. They have a star point guard in Preston. He's only a junior, so he's still got a couple more years left with the extra eligibility. But man, they're good. If you look at their close losses against teams that are, you know, top 100 in the net, they lost to Illinois by 2 points this season, which is pretty impressive, regardless of what time of the year it was. Buffalo's a really good team. I think they're a 4 seed in the NIT. They beat them twice and then lost to them once. Then they split with Toledo, who's coincidentally playing right now in the NIT and doing really well as a 1 seed. Oh no, they're a 2 seed. So man, I really like Ohio here, like a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. Actually, to tell you the truth, I really like Ohio. Not only that, but look what they did when they played Illinois, guys. They only lost by
2
points in the last 2 seconds of the game.
Yeah.
The last 2 seconds of the game, they lost to Illinois, who was the number 1 seed. So they could play with the big dogs. And like you were saying, they're flying in Friday night. They're not practices. We don't know if COVID could still break out and everything within that team and star players get bumped or anything. So I am huge on if you're going to pick an upset, I think this would be your biggest upset potentially of the tournament. So
and I know Virginia's defense is still pretty good. When you're looking for an upset, you're looking for that 3-point shooting, and Ohio's got that. And I think that's a recipe for success against a team like Virginia.
Yes, I agree on that one. So we will go Ohio.
Ooh.
All right, next game, USC versus Wichita State or Drake.
I know we're different on this one, so we might have a little bit of an argument, but I think Drake beats Wichita. I think Drake, they're getting back one of their better players that they've had a ton of success with at the start of the season. He'll be back. Wichita State has looked extremely sloppy in the AAC tournament. They should have lost. I think it was this. I know they did lose to Cincinnati. Someone they played before Cincinnati. I'm drawing a blank now, but they should have lost that game. They play a lot of press. They aren't very good at shooting the 3. So I think Drake takes them out. And then I'm going to kind of go outside the box and take Drake over USC. I know Mobley's outstanding, but they run kind of a no point guard lineup. And I think against a lot of athletic guards like Drake or Wichita, if they're able to pull that off, I think will cause problems. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of the Pac-12, so I don't have a ton of explanation for this one, but I am personally picking the upset. I just think getting there, getting a game in, getting some momentum against a team like Wichita, I think Drake can pull off that upset.
Yeah, Man, see,
You love USC, so
I do love you.
I understand, but
I do love USC, and that would be my pick is picking USC just because of Evan Mobley. He's a top 5 lottery pick. This guy is a beast as a freshman. He could play. Yeah, he's had those games where he scores those 2 points, those 4 points, but he's averaging above 16 points per game, 3 blocks a game. These guys have a great defense. They're going to hold you under your normal scoring average. So with that, I just think that Wichita State or Drake, whoever wins that game, comes in. I just don't think they're going to be able to compete with Evan Mobley. I think him and his brother down low are just going to eat him alive and push him. So now we have a decision. Our first kind of.
oh, I mean, I expect you to click on USC for sure.
All right, we'll go do the USC.
I'm not going to talk you out of that one. You've been talking about them since freaking November.
I know. All right, this is an easy one. I feel like it's an easy one. The first game, anyway, Kansas against Eastern Washington. Yeah, Jalen Wilson, the starter, is not going to be playing. Everything is pointing at McCormick is going to be back against for Kansas this game. If McCormick's in, there is no issue with Jalen Wilson being out. They could easily play Lightfoot in his plays, and then Abaji and Garrett. I mean, they have everything that they need to, plus the freshmen. So I really like Kansas to win this one. I don't think Eastern Washington has enough weapons.
Yeah, I don't think they do either. They're very offensive minded. I think they average like 78 points per game, it says there. I mean, all offensive teams are always a little dangerous, but I think just the defensive power that Kansas has with Garrett and them is just going to be way too much for a team like Eastern Washington.
All right, so that would be an easy one. All righty, so I was against Oregon at the start of this. I just didn't like their play, and then after I keep reading more into them, I actually really, really like this Oregon team. Plus, the side of their bracket that they're on really kind of helps them, I would say anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the VCU game, we can make this an easy call. Oregon.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people kind of hinting at picking the upset here. I am big on Oregon as well. Getting Duarte and Eugene playing together, they've been outstanding. And just not having the full team all season kind of pushed them down to a 7 seed. I think they're definitely underseeded as far as talent's concerned. They could easily be, one of those 4 seeds. So picking VCU to be the 4 seed is what you're looking at, and I don't see it happening. So I mean, I'm with you. I'm rolling Oregon, and they play really small. I think their tallest. I mean, they have tall players, but their tallest starter, I think, is 6'8" or something like that, and they switch everything, which usually bodes well for teams in March. I'm just kind of looking forward to that Garza matchup, how they're going to defend him. So we'll get to that next round, but I do like Oregon.
Sweet. So we got Oregon. All right. Iowa, Grand Canyon. You talked about Garza already in the next round. I agree. I'm down with a nice, easy pick with Iowa on that one.
Yeah, I like Iowa. As far as betting's concerned, you might look at Grand Canyon. I think they'll actually keep it close because they can score with anyone, but we'll roll Iowa.
Sweet. All righty. So then we'll go like this. So we finished the West side except for the next round.
We'll hop into the Sweet 16 here in a minute.
Yeah, so we'll hit the South side up. All right, Baylor against Hartford. Guys, Baylor I think they just got back from the COVID slump. They had 3 weeks off. You saw them lose to Kansas. That was one of their first games back. They did lose to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State had a great game against them. Baylor did not shoot very well against them either, but I think you're going to see this Baylor team come for revenge. It's one of the best teams in the nation. This is an easy pick for me with Baylor.
Oh, definitely. Hartford's probably the worst team in the field. So,
yeah. All right. This one's a little interesting because you have the UNC team that they're great at rebounding, like really good at rebounding. And I know you're big with the Big Ten. And UNC, I mean, if they can rebound their offense rebounding, they could beat you by 40. It's like it's a flip of a switch, and all of a sudden you're just like, wow, this is that old Tar Heels team that we used to know.
Yeah, for sure. This one was really tough for me. I think North Carolina is the better team. I think they're more inconsistent. And I know that this is being played in kind of Big Ten country. Wisconsin plays in those around that area every single season. That Illinois or Indiana area, excuse me. I don't know. This one was almost impossible for me to pick. I loved North Carolina. They've been way too inconsistent. And obviously Wisconsin's been absolutely pummeled by the top of the Big Ten there. So I think it's a coin flip. I'm not mad either way, but I kind of resorted to Big Ten over ACC. That's it.
All right, so you let me pick the USC one, so I'll let you pick this one. You want Wisconsin?
Yeah, let's roll Wisconsin. I think Big Ten. I mean, it came down to a coin flip for me, and I just looked at which conference is better, and I went with Wisconsin. So
I like it. Well, Cameron, he might not like our decision, but
that's what he gets for not being here.
Yep. All righty. So I don't know if we have a split decision on this one. My thing is going Winthrop. Winthrop guys, they have a 6-7 point guard. This guy is a monster. He's had 4 triple doubles this season. This guy can do everything. And if he gets that 10 plus assists, I can see Winthrop throttling Villanova. And Villanova, with, what is it? Gesicki? I think that's who it is. He's out.
Gillespie.
He's out. So I just think, as you can see, when he's out, they lose games. I don't think they're as strong. They're still a good team, don't get me wrong. But I think this is one of the best 12 seeds you're going to have is Winthrop. They have lost 1 game, guys. 1 game. They are amazing at shooting. Their defense is uptick. They like to be aggressive on everything. And a lot of teams haven't played a team like this where they're going to attack you in every way. They're almost like West Virginia, but smaller school. They're going to press you, attack you, and attack you. So my pick is Winthrop on this one as my first major upset.
Yeah. I also picked Winthrop. I think it was more of a pick against Villanova than for Winthrop. I don't know a ton about Winthrop personally. I mean, I kind of know their efficiencies and whatnot, but there's more of a pick against Villanova. They've lost 3 of their last 4. Obviously, they got beat early in the Big East tournament. It turned out to be against Georgetown, which isn't the worst loss, and it was only by, I think, 1 point there. But I think it's more of a pick against Villanova coming into this tournament than it is for Winthrop for me, but I do have Winthrop winning.
Sweet. That's our first kind of major upset, I would say. All righty. So we
had Ohio too.
Okay, yeah, we did. You're right. All righty. So we got Purdue against North Texas. I know you're a huge Purdue guy, so I like Purdue in the first round. I don't think North Texas. I mean, they do great on defense and everything. And to me, Purdue's main focus is addition inside of that 7-3 guy. And if he could dominate, Purdue dominates teams and kills them. But if they can't shoot on the outside, they start struggling on offense. Their defense is really well. But I think that this is a walk in the park with Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue has so much size. And I'm not saying North Texas is bad because they're actually a pretty good team, but I think Western Kentucky was the best team in their conference. They just didn't win the conference tournament, and it turned out to be North Texas. And I think, I mean, you know how I feel about Purdue, which I'm sure we'll get into. But just the size of Purdue, their ability to out-rebound teams by double digits. And on top of that, they're playing basically in their hometown. One of the courts for this March Madness this season is actually Purdue's home stadium. I just think they have a huge advantage being basically a home team there.
Yeah, so we'll pick old Purdue on that one. Texas Tech against Utah State. Utah State, great season. They did wonderful. I just think Texas Tech is coming in, and I think everyone's kind of pushed Texas Tech to the side, looking at their record, 17-10 in Big 12 play. They lost to Kansas twice. They lost to Baylor twice, but at the same time, they played them all really close. Not only that, but I think this Texas Tech team, if they get hot, they could be one of those teams because their defense is so good to really go deep in this tournament. Do I have them going deep? We'll get there, but I like Texas Tech over Utah State on this one.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm a big Mountain West person. I mean, I think I told you in the Mountain West tournament, I picked every game correctly against the spread except for one when San Diego State only beat Nevada by 7 instead of 8, which was a bummer. But so I know the Mountain West, and this is not a good matchup for Utah State. I mean, Smith is a wonderful coach. I'm sure he'll have somewhat of a game plan, but man, they cannot score the ball. And Keita, I mean, the athletes of Texas Tech will shut him down, I feel like. Maybe not shut him down, but they'll slow him down. And then you look at Texas Tech in the Big 12 was averaging 73, giving up 63, and Utah State, exact same numbers, scoring 73, giving up about 63. And that's in the Mountain West. So I just think it's a huge it's a bad matchup for Utah State, and I'm also looking at the betting line big. I'm going to bet Texas Tech when I get there. Hopefully the line doesn't move much more than 4. But yeah, Texas Tech for me.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about the spread on that one. So thank you for
Yeah,
covering that.
Utah State just doesn't have the scoring guards. That's basically what it is.
I'm about to send you some Venmo so you can put some bets in for me.
I gotcha.
All righty, next one, Arkansas Colgate. Apparently, there's a lot of let's say movement on Colgate potentially being Arkansas. Colgate shoots super, super well. They could play. They say they could play with anybody in the country. As you see, they've only lost once, but they've also played 15 games, so you really haven't got that taste of how good they are and everything. And I just look at this Arkansas team. I had them win in the SEC. Yes, they didn't win the SEC, but man, oh man, they can shoot from anywhere. Arkansas, they are shooting deep threes and everything. If they're on point with their threes, I just think Colgate can't stand a chance on this one.
Yeah, for sure. And so, something to keep an eye on. Colgate does score 86 points a game, which is insane. Arkansas scores 82 in the SEC there. Arkansas will run down and take a 3 within 10 seconds of the shot clock almost every possession, it seems like. So, I mean, you can expect a high-scoring game. I just think that, man, Arkansas, they're going to get a little hot. I think they have enough athletes to maybe slow Colgate down a little bit. It's going to be high-scoring, and I can see Arkansas just running away with it if they're even shooting 35% from 3. It's just going to get blown out of the water once they get rolling.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that one. Florida, Virginia Tech. Who do you got on this?
I personally have Virginia Tech. A lot of people have been on Florida. Virginia Tech's beaten some good teams this year. They've lost to some bad teams as well, but they were projected like 11th or 12th in the ACC, and they come out as the number 3 seed in the tournament. So they've had an outstanding season. They're 4-0 versus top 25 teams. They've beaten Villanova, Virginia. I don't remember who else exactly. Clemson, I know. They lost, to North Carolina, Louisville, Georgia Tech. So, I mean, it's somewhat of a toss-up, but I like the 10 seed here. They're only a 1-point dog as well, so I might just take them in a pick 'em once I get to Vegas there. But I don't know. They've just beaten more quality opponents. I don't like watching Florida play. Their offense is just stagnant. They rely a lot on athleticism instead of skilled shooters and whatnot. So I like Virginia Tech.
No, I agree with you on that one. I totally agree with you on that one. I don't think we really need to go over this one much. Ohio State, yeah, they dipped a lot, but I think they're going to go through Oral Roberts pretty quick. So
what I will say about Ohio State quickly is just don't get recency bias. I know they looked really good in the Big Ten title, but look at their whole body of work and make an educated decision when you move them forward. Obviously, in this match, you can take them, but keep in mind their full body of work, because if you just take the Big Ten championship or the tournament, you're thinking, boom, Final Four team, I got it, but I would be careful.
Yeah, I agree on that one. I agree. All right, going to the bottom section. We'll jump over to the East.
All right, and we'll speed this up once we get past the first round, but we just want to talk about these teams first and then get everything out. And
because now you're going to understand what we're going through and everything.
Yeah.
Michigan guys, they did lose Livers. He's one of their best players on that team. He's a quick spot up shooter. I don't think you're going to have much of a difficult matchup here, as you can tell, with the 99% chance of everyone picking them. But later on, you'll see why I'm telling you this now. And we'll probably have discussions on this one later. But
yeah, for
Tanner
sure.
agrees. Michigan.
Yeah.
Pick them. All right. Do you have any pick of their? I love this LSU team, man. They're tall. They're aggressive. They can play in the paint with anybody in the nation. You saw that against Alabama in the SEC championship game. They proved that they are a team to be feared, and I really, really like this LSU team. So I think they take it over St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, I think their offense will be a bit overpowering. I do like the Bonnies, but I think the LSU's a tough draw as an 8 seed. But I wouldn't be mad either way. But I personally like LSU.
All righty. Colorado, Georgia. Now, this is going to be a very interesting one, I feel like. Just because, Georgetown's super hot. They came in with, 9 wins. They weren't even projected to make the tournament, and then they end up winning the Big East. Then you have a Colorado team that kind of was staying under the radar. Great front court and back court. So, I mean, they can score wherever they want, Colorado. Georgetown, they got the bigs. Their defense has spiked up drastically, and they're actually playing defense now. Not only that, they can rebound the ball, but are we looking at, they got hot at the right time, they can make it far, or are we looking at this Colorado team being overlooked and everyone's saying this Georgetown team is just going to walk all over Colorado?
Well, when I look at this matchup, I think I see two very overrated teams. I think a lot of people are hot on Georgetown after what they did, which rightfully so. I don't think Colorado, I mean, they might have deserved a 5 seed given their record. I don't think they're a 5 seed type of team. I just don't like their team. They shoot great from the free throw line. So I think that's kind of a good decider against a big team like Georgetown. I'm kind of just picking Colorado on the basis of Georgetown's, wild run ending, but I would not be surprised either way.
So where we want to go with this one? I'm up for either or on this one.
Yeah, me too. But I personally picked Colorado, but I would whatever you feel like.
We'll go Colorado. I'm not too into that one. I like on this next one, Florida State on this one. I just think that their size with UNC Greensboro. Yes, UNC Greensboro has a great, what's his name on their team? Miller can score from anybody. But I just think that the size of Florida State, it's going to get into the head. They can disrupt Miller. If they stop Miller, Greensboro is going to be in trouble. This is not the same Southern Conference team that came out, 2 years ago when they had, what's that team? Gosh, that I was so big on.
For not Furman, it was Wofford.
Wofford. Because Wofford, the reason why I love Wofford so much is they can hit the threes from anywhere. They are so good at shooting. It's just Greensboro, they're great. They can score. It's just Florida State's too big. They're overpowerful on this one.
Yeah, Florida State's way too big for them. It's a horrible matchup for UNCG. I definitely a line I'm looking at betting at the -11. I think this one could get out of hand.
All righty, so FSU. Okay, now I think we're on the same page on this one. BYU's great. They got a good big. They can score. But I think if Michigan State can get past UCLA, I think Michigan State can run the table on this one. I think this is one of your top high seeds that can go far and make a push just because Michigan State has proven they can beat anybody. They can play with anybody. And it's shown that in conference play. It's shown that in tournament play. I love this Michigan State team.
Yeah, I agree. I think they take care of business against UCLA. They have some great athletes. I just think they're a lot more well-rounded than BYU. BYU does have a couple big men. Obviously, Harms from Purdue transferred there last don't know if it was last year or the year before. And he's been pretty good. Alex Barcelo, they have some shooters, so I mean, they can stay in games. I just think they're way overseeded. I don't think they're a 6 seed. I would not. I mean, obviously the record speaks for itself, but I wouldn't have been mad at seeing them on the 8-9 line, and I would have had trouble picking them to beat, the 8-9 teams with Loyola, Georgia Tech, Missouri, teams like that. I would be like coin flipping them. So I don't think that they're a 6 seed. And I think Michigan State obviously struggled most of the season, but they've beaten, Illinois, Michigan, a lot of those top teams. So I think Michigan State, obviously Izzo's great in March. I think he pulls off that win there.
Yeah, no, I agree on that one. And it surprised me. You're like Michigan State doing a play-in for the 11th seed.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Against UCLA too.
I know, that's actually
who had good enough record to get in the tournament without the play-in. So yeah. I think that match might even be tougher than BYU. Not taking anything away from BYU, I just think that playing in the WCC, you have to show a lot out of conference. I know they were able to take down San Diego State, but that was one of those games where I think Matt Mitchell had 35 and the rest of the team was like 1 for 25 or 30. So it was horrible. It was just one of those disgusting games. So I think they're a bit overseeded.
All right. So we got Michigan State or UCLA. All righty, guys. Texas. And then Albany and Christian. I like Texas. They won the Big 12. I kind of give that an asterisk because they were supposed to play a really, really hot Kansas team. This Kansas team was super hot. Coming in, they beat Oklahoma, and then they had COVID, so it automatically pushed Texas to the championship game, gave them 1 day of rest. Oklahoma State had to go through a horrible siding, beat Baylor just to make the championship game. So I do like this Texas team, though, a lot. They show that they could play with anybody. Shaka Smart was on the verge of being fired, though. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then all of a sudden he won the Big 12. And now he's staying forever. So I do like them winning the first round, though.
Yeah, I also picked Texas. When I first looked at my bracket, I was like shooing in Texas every single time, just scrolling over stuff. Upon second look, I mean, this game does worry me a little bit. I'm still going to roll with Texas just because Abilene Christian doesn't really have a leading scorer. I think their leading score is like 12 points per game. But they play amazing defense. They pressure the ball. They don't let you get off many threes, which if Texas isn't playing, sound basketball, moving the ball well, getting it down low, it could keep it close, 3/4 of the game. But I'm taking Texas to pull it out in the end.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one. So we got Texas. UConn, Maryland. I was like at the start of it, like you were just saying, just scrolling through, I was like, oh, UConn. But after more, I've been looking at this, man. Maryland, I don't know. Something about them just makes me want to pick them. I hate the ACC, though, this year, especially just because I think they're so weak. As you can see. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Big Ten. I haven't been a fan of Big Ten at all the whole year, except for Michigan until they lost Livers. But I'm just like, man, I want to pick Maryland so bad, but I like UConn.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go the other direction, which you can make. It's your turn to make the actual pick, but I'll explain why. So Maryland has one of the, if not the best perimeter defenders in the Big Ten, which is saying a lot given the teams in the Big Ten. And if you look at UConn, they have one outstanding scorer. So it's kind of, strength for strength there. I'm going to take the defense of Maryland. And then obviously I like the Big Ten a lot. And watching Maryland play, they play, a lot of switch screens. They play very active on defense. They don't play a lot of big guys, but I don't think Connecticut's the team that's going to come in there and out rebound you by 15. So I'm kind of rolling with Maryland personally, but I mean, UConn's good. A lot of people have UConn in their Elite Eight, so it's kind of crazy to think about. So I think this is one of those bracket busting teams for a lot of people if Maryland can pull off the upset. But I mean, I could be wrong. Maryland could go out there and throw a dud. I know Connecticut's been outstanding, has outstanding efficiency on offense and defense. I think they're one of the only teams that's also at top 25 in both. So they've played great. But
yeah, no, I'm gonna have to probably go with Maryland on this one, and the reason why is just because if you get Bouknight, if he gets pushed around and if he doesn't have a good shooting day for UConn, they're done. It's over for UConn. So I'm going, and I hate the Big Ten.
Just go UConn. I'll take the next pick.
No, we'll go Maryland. We'll go Maryland. All right, Alabama, Iona. I know we're not huge into the SEC either.
But
this, I don't know, something about this Alabama team is just telling me something. They might go far.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the first
game,
a
lot of athletes, and Nate Oates is a great coach. So
yeah, the first game. I mean, it's not that hard of a pick. Stick with Alabama. The 2 seed losing is very rare. The one I remember was when Duke lost. I think it was Duke lost as a 2 seed. Forget who it was.
Siena, I think, or something like that. I know that.
So, but I would go with your gut on this one. Go Alabama. All righty.
Or we got one more region.
One more region. All right, Illinois.
This is probably one of the most talented regions.
Yes.
They have a lot of good teams.
A lot of good teams that make a lot of hard decisions. Illinois, your first one. I think they're playing the best basketball in the nation right now. They have a big man that is, what is he, 265?
Kofi Coburn.
And their point guard, he's great. So, I mean, don't sit around and try to get Drexel on this one. Just go Illinois. All right, Loyola against Georgia Tech. I want to hear what your take is on this one.
Oh, I don't have a massive take on this one. I think Loyola plays great team basketball. Obviously, they defend well, giving up like a tournament low 50-something points. Sorry, let me get to the game real quick here. 55 points. So they play outstanding defense. Krutwig's very crafty down low. They have some good shooters. Georgia Tech, obviously, coming off that ACC championship. They kind of got some passes, not having to play Virginia. And obviously, I mean, they probably wouldn't have played Duke, but Duke got put out of that tournament as well. So really, they only beat Clemson and then played in the title against Florida State. So, I mean, read into that what you want, but I'm rolling with Loyola Chicago. I would not be mad either way, though. I went back and forth about 10 times just because I think Georgia Tech, their point guard big man duo that's been outstanding the second half of the season could definitely be a factor. So, I mean, it's a coin flip for me, but I picked Loyola.
Oh, okay. I'll let you get the choice of this one. I'm going Georgia Tech. Just I love their play. They won the ACC, like you were saying. They showed that they could beat a bigs with the beating of Florida State. And not only that, they're senior. They're very old guys. They've understood, how can I say that? They understand the pressure and everything with it. So that was my pick, but this is all yours if you want Loyola.
Oh, hey, you're paying for this bracket, so you do what you want.
It don't matter.
I'm just going to let you know my pick.
I got the last one, so now it's your up. You get this one.
I'll take Loyola.
All righty. All right, Tennessee, Oregon State.
I'll start with this one, I guess. I think this is one of those games that Oregon State, you did great. You won the Pac-12, but it's one of those like you see, like a 13 or 14 seed win the first round, then second round, it's just like run out of gas. You play a good team, they just get demolished, and I think this is one of those games. I don't like Tennessee, but I definitely don't like Oregon State. So I think that Tennessee covers the spread and wins this pretty easily.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. They get hot, they win their conference tournament. Everyone's like, oh, they actually have a really, really, really good shot at making it far. And you're like, no, just put the brakes on with this Oregon State team. They have a lot of bad losses. So
they got hot and some teams got cold. So
yeah. So we'll go Tennessee. Oklahoma State against Liberty. I love Oklahoma State. I absolutely love them. I was a huge fan. I picked them to beat Baylor just because of their play. If Cade Cunningham can make a deep run, he has to shoot very, very well. And he has that ability to. He is the floor general of this Oklahoma State team. You were looking at a projected number 1 lottery pick right here. And we are watching him grow up before our eyes with Cade Cunningham. And if you haven't seen him play, turn on the channel and watch this game. I think Oklahoma State will win this game. And I think it's going to be because Cade Cunningham, if they want to go far.
Yeah, Oklahoma State definitely has the firepower to make it, to the Final Four and beyond that. I think we saw that Georgetown game in the Big 12 tournament. He got in foul trouble early. The team gave up a massive lead and kind of got in a hole that he couldn't dig him out of because he was in foul trouble. So as long as he stays out of foul trouble when they play good teams, I think he has a good enough supporting cast to where they could win this, this entire region, even against Illinois in there. So I really like Oklahoma State. With that being said, don't sleep on Liberty. They shoot almost 40% from three. They're one of the best free throw shooting teams. They're one of those teams that you don't want to let get hot from three because they'll just kind of hang around. And if their coach has a good enough game plan against your offense and is able to limit possessions and make their threes, I mean, they can keep it close, but obviously I'm picking Oklahoma State.
All righty. Yeah, Oklahoma State. All right, San Diego State and Syracuse. Boeheim, if he shoots what he just did in the ACC, watch out. This team has a great defense. And in one of our previous podcasts, we were talking about this. When Syracuse gets out of the ACC, and a lot of these teams haven't experienced what their defense is, they could actually make a deep run just because of that. We saw that a long time ago when they were actually, I think they were 11 seeded as well, and they actually made a deep run into the Elite Eight and lost. But
I think they made the Final Four, maybe even. I can't remember exactly, but
this is a team that I love, and I think, San Diego State, yes, they won the Mountain West, and that's more of your area. That you're that expertise in that area, so you have probably a good little say in this one. I just love Syracuse.
Yeah, so I really like both teams. I don't think Syracuse should have been in the tournament, but now that they are, I'm thankful because they're a very good team. In that zone, I think what we see every single year in the first couple rounds is teams watching tape on Syracuse, but it's not the same when you get in that game. You can't. It's so hard to break the zone and get used to it. And by the time you get used to it, you're down. You're down 8 points in the second half, and then you're playing from behind a little bit. Buddy Boeheim, he dropped 30-something against, I think it was Virginia in the first round. They barely lost to Virginia in the ACC tournament. So I do like San Diego State. I think they have some good shooters. I think people are overplaying their shooters a little bit, saying, oh, this is such a good matchup for San Diego State. And all that, but I think Syracuse pulls off the win as well.
Yeah, I like that. All righty, West Virginia, Morehead State.
I love this game.
I know you were talking about it earlier.
State. Hold on, I have to pull this up real quick. Go ahead and talk about them for a sec. I need to pull this game up real quick.
So I like West Virginia, just their style of play. They're aggressive. They're going to full court press you. If you haven't really experienced a full court press all game long, it is tiring. It's exhausting. It forces you to make mistakes. And if you start doing turnovers, that's right into the basket of what West Virginia wants you to do. At the same time, West Virginia has had a slump these last few weeks. When you're going to the tournament with the slump, you're kind of questioning yourself and everything, and it leaves the door open for this Morehead State team. I still do like West Virginia on this. But I want to hear what you're going to say with Morehead State. Let's see if you can sway me.
Oh, I'm not swaying you. That's for damn sure. I am big on West Virginia. This is one of those games I'm gonna right when I get to Vegas put good hefty bet on. I wish the line would quit moving. I think it opened at 11. Now it's at 13, which I don't like. But looking back, a good teller of a lot of teams is their non-conference play. Obviously, they get better throughout the season, but every team does, and they play tougher competition as far as West Virginia is concerned. But looking back at they played some really good teams at the start of the season. Well, some good teams at the start of the season. Ohio State, they lost by 33. They only scored 44 points. Their offense cannot hang with these big schools. They played Kentucky. They lost by 36 points. They scored 45 total points. I mean, that's a just screaming absolute blowout in this game. I am not even coming close to thinking about betting Morehead State plus 13. I'm going to bet the minus until it hits 15. Maybe I'll think about it, but I think about not even betting the game. But West Virginia minus 13, I think, is one of my best locks for that first round betting wise. I mean, Clemson, they scored 50 points against. They're not going to score more than 50 against West Virginia. So West Virginia has to score, 64 points to cover. That seems like a lock to me. So I'm going to roll with West Virginia big.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And like you see, West Virginia, they don't have just like one or two or three people. They have 4 people averaging double points. 4 people. So I love West Virginia, and you'll see when we go later on. So West Virginia. All right, Clemson, Rutgers. This one is, to me, is a coin flip. Like, I really
Definitely
don't know which one is going to win on this one.
I hate both of these teams. If I could pick them both to get upset, I would. But I do have to pick one. I think I flip-flopped like 8 times just solely because of the reason of me having that sliver of hope of a perfect bracket, and I don't want it to be ruined by a Clemson-Rutgers matchup. But similar to the last one, I just went with the Big Ten team. But I could definitely see Clemson beating them. I don't really care about this matchup.
Yeah,
I didn't even care to really study it that much.
Me either.
I'm kind of just rolling the dice on the Big Ten.
Oh man, yeah, I can't really tell you anything about this game, so we'll just do a little Big Ten action on that one. Houston, Cleveland State, man, Houston. It's very weird. So Quentin Grimes actually came from Kansas. He was a 6th man. He started, and then he didn't turn out how he's supposed to, so he became the 6th man. Didn't like being the 6th man, and then left and went to Houston. He's that older senior guy for him, though. Great leadership with them and everything. So I really like this Houston team, but if they cannot shoot, if they have one bad night of shooting, they will lose to anybody. Like, they will barely get to 45, 50 points scoring. So that's my only worry. Some of their defense is great, but I think this game is easy. I like Houston on this one.
Yeah, for sure. Houston rebounds really well. They play, that style I talked about with Maryland, where they switch ball screens. They're very versatile defensively. They have a couple really good possible NBA guys, and Grimes. So I mean, obviously Houston in this matchup, but I like them going forward as well.
Alrighty. Now we're getting in.
Sweet 16.
So, Tanner, before we actually officially click these, did you get my text?
Yeah, I invited Cam in here. I think he was going to come do a little talking with us. I don't know if he got my invite or what, but I'll invite him again.
Yeah, you can't text him. You have to do Facebook.
No, I invited him through Zoom.
Okay. So we're going to continue. If he joins, everybody, we'll get another body in here to start to talk with us. It'll be Cameron in the other corner. Get a little take on him. But until then, we're going to keep going. Gonzaga against Missouri. I'm Gonzaga on this one. I don't think Gonzaga, they have 3 players that are all Americans. I just think this is an easy one against Missouri.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is just shoe in there.
So Creighton against Ohio. I like Creighton. Are you on the same page with me on this one? Or are you
I
Ohio?
I like Creighton, but I did pick Ohio. I think if you're going to have a double-digit seed go to the Sweet 16, which on average, 2.2 double-digit seeds get to the Sweet 16. I think I'm just going to ride the high of Ohio on this one. Creighton has had their troubles lately. I mean, if they were to lose the UCMB, I think it'd be a safe pick just to move Ohio on as well. But you can look at it the other way, where if you think Virginia still has a chance against Ohio, but you're kind of leaning Ohio, you could pick Creighton just to back yourself up so you're not losing 2 games. But I like Ohio to make it to the Sweet 16 to face Gonzaga, but I could definitely see Creighton. I do like Creighton a lot, but I'm really high on Ohio.
All right, we'll go Ohio.
I'm not going to make you pick Ohio. You can pick Creighton.
I got a whole bunch of. We got a whole bunch of brackets.
I'm gonna feel guilty when they lose by 30 to Virginia in the first round.
Fine, we'll go Creighton. We'll go Creighton. All right. So USC against Kansas. Now this one hurts because I want my boys to win. Watching them play all season long, they go through stretches where they're so dominant. McCormick is so good, but this guy's had over a week and a half off. Jalen Wilson's going to have a week off. So, I mean, they're going to have guys coming in that are fresh, but potentially out of shape, not game ready. And I am huge on the Mobley brothers. I think this is the chance for USC to really break out and say, hey, we are as good as we are advertised. Evan Mobley is a top 3 lotto pick, so my pick would be USC, and I normally would go Kansas, but I've been heartbroken too many times.
I like that pick a lot. I'm gonna just defer to you because I have Kansas versus Drake here, but and I have Kansas beating Drake, but I don't know if I would have him beating USC, so I'll just let you make this pick.
All righty. Now we got Oregon, Iowa. I'm going to let you do this decision.
Okay, and normally I really like the Big Ten. I think Iowa's one of those exceptions, obviously, along with Rutgers, who I hate. But Iowa is just, I feel like they get in these modes offensively that are just weird. They struggle to score. They're too reliant on Garza. Oregon is kind of more spreading it out. Finding a big guy to guard Garza might be difficult for Oregon, but I think they might do a lot of double teams, a lot of just staying active on defense. And I think they have enough shooters and scorers to hang around with Iowa. I personally picked the upset just because if I'm going to pick a 2 seed to get upset early, I think Iowa's probably the one. They've just been so inconsistent this year. So I'm personally picked Oregon in this one.
I like that. And the more I read into Oregon, the more I like picking them. So I like that. All right, we already did this section. So we'll go over to this side. All right, Baylor, Wisconsin. To me, I think Baylor is an easy pick right here. Wisconsin's good with the Big Ten and everything. I just think Baylor is looking for blood, and I think they're going to start. I think the first 3 games, they might beat everybody by 20 or more. I honestly believe that with Baylor.
Yeah, for sure. But Baylor's really good. I mean, I don't like Wisconsin or North Carolina, so I think Baylor's a safe pick for sure.
To Baylor, all right, Purdue, Winthrop. So my other brackets, I got Winthrop. I just think this team is so good.
Go for it.
They have the size. Well, I don't want to pick the same bracket in every bracket because then there's no opportunity to. If one team changes, then I lose it in every bracket. So that's why I like another thing is change up your brackets, guys, and everything. So I'm guessing you're a huge Purdue fan. You really like Purdue.
Yeah,
so we can go Purdue.
I mean, I'm really big on Purdue, and I've already told you, spoiler alert, I have them going further than even this round. So, I mean, I personally picked Purdue over Winthrop, but it is what it is. I know we'll see whose opinion's right come a few days here.
We will. So we'll do all Purdue on this one. All right, Arkansas, Texas Tech. Who you got in this one? Let me pick this one as well.
I took Texas Tech. Listen, Arkansas had an outstanding season. Musselman's been great. SEC's been decent at the top. I just think they're one of those teams that can get slowed down. They shoot a ton of threes. They play fast, but Texas Tech has the athletes to run with them. And I like the Big 12 a little more. In our previous videos, I picked Texas Tech as kind of one of those dark horses to go kind of deep. They kind of disappointed against Texas in the Big 12 tournament, but I mean, I like them against Arkansas in particular.
I like that. I'm a huge Big 12 fan, so old Texas Tech. All right, Virginia Tech, Ohio State. Are you still going with Ohio State right now?
I am, just because I don't like Virginia Tech, really. That's the only reason. If I was going to pick one of those 10 seeds to upset, I was looking at Iowa and Ohio State, but I just couldn't do it in this one.
I like it. I like that. All righty. So as you can tell, this is where we're at so far. So on the top, we got Gonzaga, Creighton, USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas Tech, Baylor, Purdue. We'll jump down to the bottom. Start here. All right. So my other bracket, that's why I like switching it up. I have LSU. I think LSU has a great chance if they can get past St. Bonaventure to beat Michigan. I think with Michigan, with Liversal, I've been saying, is a huge distraction. I think it's going to cause chaos, and I love the size and the talent LSU has. They love playing athletic, aggressive, and down low. Michigan has the freshman. What's that guy's name? The monster.
Dickinson.
Dickinson. He's great. I just think that LSU could really minimize him and force him to play on the outside. But I know you like Michigan on this one, and I am not hating.
Here's the thing about this. I originally, looking through my bracket, there's been a 7 seed or higher in the Final Four like 5 of the last 6 years. I really wanted to keep that trend going in my bracket. I initially had LSU being that team just because I think this entire region is a little weak. I think Florida State's vulnerable. I'm not huge on Texas or Alabama. And obviously Michigan is missing livers early in this tournament at least. So I originally did have LSU. I flip-flopped and switched it to Oregon going a little deeper instead. And I think Michigan, with Hunter Dickinson, Davis is a great backup center. He's got some good footwork down low. Smith guard is a very good point guard. They have some shooters. I'm banking on them figuring it out without livers. So I have them winning this matchup, but I originally had LSU, so I would not be mad if you wanted to go LSU here.
My other bracket in the same league, I got LSU, so I'm not going to screw myself over in that quick one.
Do we have a eavesdropper in here?
Is he?
What up, boys?
Ooh, he came in at the right time. It's about to get good.
Sitting there trying to steal our info for his bracket.
Yeah. No, I think the loss of Isaiah Livers is actually going to cause them some damage, so I wouldn't be surprised with that upset.
Good. All right, we're on Colorado, Florida State. What's your guys' take on that?
We're currently, we're getting teams into the Sweet 16, Cam, just to catch you up a little bit. We went through the first round. We're in the second round now, which is the Sunday-Monday lineup. But Colorado, Florida State, I voiced my opinion about Colorado last time when we talked about them in Georgetown. I thought that I don't like either team. So I'm rolling Florida State. I think their offense is very good, and I think that they'll just outplay Colorado.
I also took FSU.
I know you're a big FSU fan. You're also a big old Tar Heel fan.
Yes, sir. No, I just
They're Gonzo.
Yeah,
we took them out before you could get in here.
Yep.
Gonna say it. But honestly, they probably will be. I mean, that's gonna be a good game against Wisconsin.
Yeah. All right, so we got FSU, guys. That's the same pick I had a lot of the time. I think Colorado, I just picked them to beat Georgetown. I think they could win that first round. Then the hype gets real. All the Colorado fans, I thought they were going to win the Pac-12 will be like, see. And then Florida State comes in and says, quiet down, little child. So I like old Florida State here.
I like that.
All right, Texas, Michigan State. I haven't been a fan of Texas all season, even though they've beaten my team, Kansas, twice. And one in overtime, one in the regular season or the regular time, and they killed them in the regular time too. But like we said earlier, Michigan State, I just think they could play with anybody. They could beat anybody at any point, any time. They get hot during the tournament. Tom Izzo can coach his team to make it far. So I love Michigan State.
I guess I'll go real quick. So when you're filling out your bracket, I think you want to look for two double-digit seeds making the Sweet 16. Currently in this bracket, we don't have one. So I personally picked Michigan State to beat Texas as well. So I think this is one of those you look at as those double-digit seeds moving on. And going into our next matchup, I don't want to spoiler alert, but I really wanted to pick Maryland. And if it wasn't just in the same bracket as I picked Michigan State to move on, because I don't want to move Michigan State onto my Elite Eight, I probably would have them beating Bama as well as the second double-digit seed. But yeah, Michigan State in this one personally. I know a lot of people are big on Texas. Some people have them in their championship game. So what do you think, Cam?
Well, I'm with you guys on the Michigan State beating UCLA, but I mean, I've got to take Texas here. They kind of got let down in the Big 12 tournament. They're going to come in hot and fired up. Michigan State does match up well with Texas, but they've got the ball rolling. I think they're going to cover.
Who's your one big first round upset, Cam?
My first big round upset is Ohio over Virginia? And then Virginia. I also have the Gauchos.
UC Santa Barbara.
UC Santa Barbara.
Oh, you're not gonna let me pick Creighton
Just
in the
curious. 316. I didn't. I picked Ohio in the 316, but
did.
Nolan did pick Creighton, which I could see happening. But moving on to old Bama, Maryland.
Bama, Maryland. All right, Tanner, you said you had something to say about this. Let's hear it.
I mean, I did a little bit. I really wanted to pick Maryland. I think Bama is, man, all the 2 seeds are really weak this year. I think Houston's beatable. Bama, obviously. Iowa, obviously. We had them losing. Ohio State, I think, is very overrated based on their play in the Big Ten tournament. So I wanted to pick this game. But looking ahead of my bracket, I just couldn't, because I couldn't have Maryland or Michigan State moving on to the Elite Eight. It just seemed a little too much for my bracket when I had other upsets. I personally picked Alabama. I'm not happy about it, but I mean, I could see it happening for sure. They're a good team.
Cammy?
No, they're a very good team. They got Herbert Jones. I honestly think that first round matchup with them and UConn's going to be a little bit closer than everyone expects. I did also take Maryland, but you got to roll Tide here.
Yeah.
Just for the viewers, I wanted Maryland, so when they beat Alabama over the weekend, I'm going to say I told you so, even though I didn't put them in my bracket.
All righty.
That's a good one, though.
So then we'll jump to this side. All righty. So for the viewers, I did want Georgia Tech, and I think Georgia Tech has potential to beat Illinois. I'm just kidding. But I do think that there's a good possibility that Georgia Tech could. But all right, Illinois is the best team in the nation. I think right now, currently, other than Gonzaga, I should say, actually. Let's rephrase that. I don't think Loyola, if they do get past Georgia Tech, can beat this Illinois team. They're just good up front. They're good down low. It's just a great team. So my pick is Illinois on this one, guys.
Yeah, I think the road ends for the 8-9 seed against Illinois. Io DeSumer, Kofi Coburn, they could go deep in this tournament for sure. This isn't a matchup to be messing around for an upset.
With you guys here, you got to take Illinois.
Quick and easy. Okay, Tennessee, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, I've been talking about them for the last week and a half. Cade Cunningham. So that is my pick for this one.
I mean, I like the freshman star power, like a mellow type NCAA run, but I'm going to go with Tennessee here.
Oh, I'll throw a little kinker in there.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I did mention before you got on, Cam, that Liberty could surprise some people. Maybe take down Oklahoma State. I'm not taking it. I think that if Cade Cunningham stays out of foul trouble, he's a big problem, and he has a lot of help around him. I'm personally going Oklahoma State. I think, for one, the Big 12 is better than the SEC. Tennessee's been super inconsistent. I know that you've been talking about Tennessee all year, and I've been hounding you to get off of them. But
yeah,
I mean, they look decent in the SEC tournament, and I think Oklahoma State could have won the SEC or the Big 12 tournament if Cade Cunningham didn't get in foul trouble against Baylor.
Yeah.
So that's my pick.
All righty.
I like it, though.
Hold that. All right. Syracuse, West Virginia. Now, I normally pick West Virginia, guys, but I think this is your opportunity to get that other seed into the Sweet 16. And I love Syracuse. I don't know why, but I think West Virginia struggles with zone, so I really like the Syracuse team. And like I said earlier, Boheim, if he shoots like he's been doing, oh my gosh, it's going to be hard. He's hitting basically 50% of his threes. That's going to be hard to cover.
Yeah, I mean, they are a dangerous team. I personally picked West Virginia, and not to spoil much, but I do have them winning this region. I think that they're an outstanding team. Big 12's been really good this year. I personally think West Virginia, but I mean, if you're going to look at a team that's, coming out as a double digit that can make it to the Sweet 16, you're looking at Michigan State and Syracuse. We have one of them, and you're lobbying for the second. So I'll leave it up to Cam.
I also have this matchup, but I'm going to roll with Tanner and take West Virginia. I've been very high in West Virginia when we kind of went through the bracket update. I just feel like they've got the ball rolling now. And yes, that defense, I mean, this is going to be a defensive battle, but I'm going to roll with West Virginia for sure.
All right.
Rock Chalk Cammy's his highest seed in the Sweet 16 is a 4 seed.
Oh my gosh.
It's a 10.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
All right, guys.
I hope it's not this 10.
No.
Rutgers, Houston. I hate Rutgers.
I hate Rutgers.
I do too.
They don't deserve to be in. Move on. Get it over with.
This is a good, quick, easy one. We'll pick Houston. All right, guys. So we'll go back up to the top. Gonzaga, Creighton, USC, Oregon, Baylor, Purdue, Texas Tech, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, Michigan State / UCLA, Alabama, Houston, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Illinois. So we'll jump back in to get to our Elite Eight. Gonzaga, Creighton. I'm pretty sure y'all are going to say Gonzaga.
Yep.
I have them against Ohio, so I did have Gonzaga winning. But yeah, Gonzaga.
That was easy. USC against Oregon, a Pac-12 matchup. That happened in the Sweet 16 to get in. So if this did happen, who are you going to take? I would. I love the Mobleys.
I was going to say I'm leaning USC.
That's what I would say, but Tanner's been slowly convinced me of Oregon.
I know, and it is what it is. I think both these teams are outstanding. It's a little different my situation because I have Kansas here, just because I have them beating Drake in the second round. I have USC losing first round, but so a little different situation. I'm big on Oregon. I think that if you're looking at a team, 7 seed or higher that could make that, Elite Eight Final Four run, I'm just going to roll my dice with Oregon. But you two like USC. I know you guys have been kind of high on them all year. Obviously, they have the better player, which is a big factor. But I don't know. I just like the team factor of Oregon. They have a lot of good scorers.
Yeah, I mean, I've been riding high on USC, so I got to go with Cammy on this just to do it. I have Oregon in one of my other brackets, so it's just good enough just to say good old USC. All right. So Purdue and Baylor. I love Baylor. I just think Baylor, every time it comes up, I just keep talking about it. They have the best 3 guards in the nation. Hands down, the best 3 guards in the nation. They could compete with anybody, defend anybody, and if they're on, you're gonna get beat by 20. But what do you guys? You guys with me with Baylor, or you guys with Purdue?
No, I'm rolling with Baylor.
All right. Well, I guess this is my last chance to lobby for my Boilermakers of Purdue. So Purdue runs Travion Williams at the power forward and Edey at the center, the big 7-footer. And they have just dominated on the glass. Even against teams like, they have some of the best big men in college basketball in the Big Ten, in Dickinson, Coburn, Garza, and they've just dominated on the board some games. Sometimes they out rebound teams by 20. Ivy is kind of getting hot lately at the point guard position. They're a younger team, so I think that could come back to bite them. But they're playing in their home city. They're playing a lot of these rims they play on all year long. Man, I just think that the ability to rebound, they have played really well against teams that don't have a solid big man, which I don't think Baylor does. And this is one of my upsets. So I've got Purdue.
Purdue. I'm sorry, Purdue.
But go for Baylor. But I'm going to be yelling, I told you so, as soon as it happens.
Oh, Lordy. All righty. So we got Texas Tech, Ohio State. This one's interesting because I do like Texas Tech. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I do not like Ohio State, especially how they've been playing these last few weeks. They were, in the top 3 ranked nationally, and then all of a sudden they lost 4 or 5 games straight. You're just like, wow, Ohio State, what's going on with you guys? And then they beat a wounded Michigan team, and everyone's like, oh, they're back. It's like, no, if Livers was there, not only that, but they didn't even throw the ball to Dickerson in the last possession of the game, which it could have been turned out different, and Michigan could have went on. Ohio State wouldn't be a 2 seed. So to me, I like Texas Tech on this against these two.
I had Arkansas beating Ohio State in this matchup, so I'll roll with the Red Raiders with you.
All right. Well, I think Texas Tech could be the better team. I have Ohio State in mind. Mainly, I'm going to admit, just for the storyline of Purdue and Ohio State playing for the 4th time this season, and Purdue kind of dominated Ohio State all season, then lost 1 game in the Big Ten tournament in overtime after being down like 18 in the first half. And they almost came back and won that. So I was kind of banking on that storyline. So I had Ohio State going in, but I would not be surprised if Texas Tech wins this. They just can't get cold from the field, but I think that they could definitely beat Ohio State.
So we'll do Texas Tech. Big 12 matchup. Man, we have a couple same conference matchups, guys. That's kind of crazy. All right, Michigan, Florida State. I'm up for anything. Convince me.
I think that I'll go first. I mean, I already told you I have Michigan going to the Final Four in mind, but I think that Michigan is just well-rounded. They play great defense. They're able to rebound with the best of them, with Dickinson and Davis. They have very good guard play. They play tight on-ball defense. They looked like a top team all season. Losing Livers hurts them, and they've only played, like 1 or 2 games without him now. I think it was only 1 against Ohio State. It was the only game they played without him, so they had a little learning curve. They got off to a slow start trying to work someone new into that lineup, but I think they figure it out. And Florida State's been way too inconsistent for me, so I'm personally taking Michigan, but I know you wanted LSU to upset Michigan last round, so I would not be surprised if you took Florida State.
Cammy?
No, I'm gonna roll with Michigan here. I'm just nervous about Isaiah Livers. I think that's gonna really hurt them if he's out past that opening weekend. But if he's back for sure, I'll take Michigan.
I like it. All right, Michigan State, Alabama. I know, Tanner, you were saying you wouldn't want Michigan State against Maryland. Was that? Yeah, Maryland.
Yeah,
One of those teams going to the next round. So are you wanting Michigan State here?
No, I just didn't want to have Michigan State play, 4 games in a row to get to the Elite Eight. And then I just didn't think Maryland really had what it took. So I've got Bama here. It's kind of a chalky bottom half, but I just think that Michigan State eventually runs out of gas. But I mean, I could definitely see them winning this matchup for sure. So I would not be disappointed.
No, I'm going to take Bama here too. I just think offensively, and I really like Herbert Jones, guys. He's a beast. The SEC defensive and player of the year. I think they just got too much offense for Texas.
I like it. All right. Then we got, all right, Illinois, Oklahoma State. Hear me out. I've done this once already with Oklahoma State against Baylor during our podcast. I said, hear me out. Cade Cunningham puts a staple on this tournament, beating Illinois. The Oklahoma State team comes out and beats Illinois, and everyone's saying this is potentially the Carmelo Anthony team that could go and win the tournament.
I could see it, and I actually had Oklahoma State beating them in my bracket, but I switched it just because I have so many upsets. I kind of wanted a little bit of a chalk region, and this was the one. But I mean, I could see Oklahoma State doing it. They've been outstanding this second half of the season. I still, like I've said probably 4 times this episode, I think they still could have won the Big 12 title, and then we'd be looking at them a lot different. They might be, a 3 seed, and everyone might have them in their Final Four. But losing to Baylor, a lot of people are kind of shying away, scared to take them. But Cade Cunningham had 3 fouls super early in that game, and it was about tied. He went out, and then they're down 12-13. So if he stays out of foul trouble, it's definitely doable.
You mean Texas? They beat Baylor. They lost to Texas.
No, they lost to Baylor in the Big 12 semifinals. Yeah.
Ooh.
They beat West Virginia first round, lost to Baylor, and then Baylor lost to Texas in the finals.
Cammy?
I mean, it would be a great storyline if you can make it all the way, but I feel like you got to roll with Illinois here. I feel like they probably are one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and I just think they have enough, overall, to get it done.
Okay. Hey, just to rephrase that, they did beat Baylor in the semis to advance, and they lost to Texas in the Big 12.
Who?
Oklahoma State.
No.
Yep.
You're wrong.
And then advance to the finals. It's right here, buddy. Look at the screen.
No.
Advance to the finals of the championship game of the conference tournament after upsetting Baylor in the semifinals.
What?
Cade Cunningham they beat him by 9, I think. Cade Cunningham had 2 threes in the last second or the last couple minutes and jumped him over. They were down by buckets. 4.
I don't know why
Why
am I thinking the other way?
We were watching it at that
at dinner
bar, and then we saw Baylor take the lead.
It's because I bet. It's, you know what it is? I bet Oklahoma State
+8,
but I had Baylor winning the tournament.
Yeah,
and that's what I was thinking.
I was like, man, what the heck?
But yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State can hang with anyone. So I think it was the next game that he got in foul trouble. Then.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, regardless, if he plays, they can beat anybody.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw this curveball. We're just going to select Oklahoma State here.
Go for it.
I mean, we're doing kind of chalk right now with all the ones, so we got to get 1-1 gone. And if you look at the odds and stuff, the odds of 3 number ones making it to the Final Four is very, very rare.
Yeah.
And the 4 number ones is almost impossible. So
it's happened. Yeah, it's happened one time for 4 number ones, and I think 4 times with 3 of them. So 2-1 is your go-to for sure. That's like 80% for 1 or 2 number ones getting in the Final Four only.
Yes. So, guys, you guys are high in West Virginia.
Yep.
But we got a great defensive team in Houston. How do you guys feel about this game? It looks like a lot of people are picking Houston.
So here's how I had my bracket playing out. I had West Virginia winning this, and then West Virginia being the ones that beat Illinois next round to make the Final Four. I think that their road is relatively easy. I mean, they play possibly Syracuse and then Houston, who, you know, as I've said before, the 2 seeds are weak in these. So I personally have West Virginia. I think Houston has been good all year, but in the American, it kind of tampers it a little bit.
Cammy?
I'm gonna roll with West Virginia here. I just, like Houston's always great, but they just don't really have like any competition in their conference to where you can actually gauge what and how they're doing. They're 1-0 against the top 25. I just got to roll with West Virginia. I've been high on them all year.
All righty. So we'll jump up here. Michigan, Alabama. Who you got?
You know mine. I've already said my Final Four pick. I have Michigan. I mean, Bama has got. I hate having Bama even make it to the Elite Eight. So whether you have Florida State here, LSU here, or Michigan here, I'm taking them against Bama. And we happen to have Michigan, so that's my pick.
Cammy?
I'm gonna roll with Bama.
Oh,
Just to spice it up.
Hey,
no one decide.
if you're looking for a 1 seed to get upset before the Final Four, I mean, Michigan's got to be the one that you're looking at. Not me personally, but a lot of people are going to have Michigan out before the Final Four for sure.
yeah. I'm just gonna throw like Cameron. I'm gonna have to agree with Cameron. Just like Tanner said, Michigan. If I was gonna pick any team to lose, it would be Michigan first rather than Illinois. But I do love Oklahoma State against Illinois. Now that I'm looking at it more, but yeah, we'll go a little Bama there. West Virginia against Oklahoma State. Who you guys got?
God, if this happened, this would be a great one.
Yeah, that would be an awesome matchup, a rematch of the first round of the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah.
I had West Virginia beating Illinois. I definitely could see Oklahoma State making it here as well. I'll kind of just go with the redemption game, and I'll take West Virginia, but I would not be surprised if a 4th seed Oklahoma State made it in at this point if they get past those teams.
Cammy, you agree? West Virginia?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm going to go to, I think Oklahoma State's journey ends here. West Virginia did have a buzzer beater 3 that was called off to tie the game, but Oklahoma State got lucky, squeezed past, so we'll go West Virginia redemption. All right, Gonzaga, USC. Do we really got to talk much on this one? I think Gonzaga walks over USC. I think USC made a great run.
Yeah, there's one thing I do want to say. I have Oregon in my Final Four in mind, but so the past 6 seasons, the number 1 overall seed has not made the Final Four, which is just insane
Pretty
to think
crazy.
about. The number 1
crazy.
overall seed. Gonzaga is the number 1 overall seed. Obviously, they're far and away the number 1 overall seed, so it plays a little bit into that. The number 1 overall seed hasn't won a title in, I think it was 8 or 10 years. Could this be the team that does it? Maybe, but I personally think that the streak continues. In mine, I had Oregon, but I do not blame you for taking Gonzaga in this matchup. I think the West is one of the easier brackets, and then you throw Gonzaga in there. It's tough to find a team to beat them.
I agree with that.
So we have Baylor, Texas Tech. After looking at this, guys, we got 2 matchups of Big 12 play. So now you got Baylor, Texas Tech. I'm a Baylor fan. I think Baylor is probably going to win the title, so I'm going to go with Baylor on this one. What do you guys feel?
I'm going to go with Baylor with you.
I'm going to go with Purdue.
Tanner with the Purdue. That was his one major pick. Okay, Gonzaga, Bama. any difficulties projecting Gonzaga? Like Tanner was saying, the number one
I
team
don't-
rarely
yeah.
makes it there. But
I
if they play
think if
Bama,
yeah, I don't like Bama, so I'm taking Gonzaga in this matchup.
so we'll go Gonzaga and Baylor, West Virginia.
Cam
Woo!
loves his Alabama Crimson Tide.
Hey, remember this is not football. This is basketball.
No, you got to take Zaga there. I got them in the championship versus Illinois in mind.
So Baylor, West Virginia.
I mean, you have to go for that Baylor Gonzaga matchup. They got called off early in the season.
Yeah.
Nobody got to see it. It's kind of a good storyline there. I personally have Purdue. I will say that. But Baylor Gonzaga would be an outstanding championship, and I kind of hope that happens. That'd be a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that one. And so, okay, so reverse time, bam, we go back in time. Baylor against Gonzaga, who you going to take? That matchup that everybody wanted to see, and we were about to go have drinks with, and all of a sudden they got called out the day of the game, and we were very upset. So this is your opportunity. Who do you think could win it?
I'm going Gonzaga.
Ooh.
Sorry, go ahead.
I can't go Gonzaga for some reason. It's just something about them doesn't scream, that one of the only undefeated teams in college basketball history. I don't know. I don't like them that much. I'm going Baylor.
Yeah, I got to go Baylor too. I think Baylor is going to come to life and look for blood. So this tournament's where they show it. They're a great team. Yeah, they had the COVID scare. A whole bunch of people got COVID. They had 3 weeks off, guys. 3 weeks off, which got them out of shape. They had to come back. They played a hard Kansas team. So they're going to have some ups and downs, but I think this Baylor team could really make some noise.
All right. Who's your – I was like, we're going backwards. What the heck?
I know. That's what I was going to say.
Well, that kind of wraps it up. Cam, I know you joined a little late, so if you have any little nuggets about any other team that you really like, or if you want to tell us your championship team in your bracket.
My championship team is Illinois. I've got them beating Gonzaga in the championship. But just for some first round, like little upsets, like I said, I got Ohio beating Virginia and the Gauchos beating Creighton. I then have the Gauchos beating Ohio to get into the Sweet 16. Let's see. I really think I agree with you guys on the Winthrop and Villanova with them losing Gillespie. I feel like that's really going to hurt them. Their senior leader is gone. But I mean, you guys have Wisconsin beating UNC, so that's sad. No, I mean, I do
It was
too.
a coin flip, but
It is a coin flip, but I mean, for the most part, I agree with what you guys have.
yeah, for sure. We'll have to see how accurate we are. But mine, I have Purdue beating Michigan in mine. I went kind of out of the box. If you're filling out a bracket with your buddies, I think what you want to focus on is maybe not taking Gonzaga. Maybe try to pick between that Illinois Baylor. And then even if there's a lot of people in your pool, maybe looking at a 2 or 3 seed. I hate the 2 seeds this year. So maybe you look at an Oklahoma State or, one of those 3 seeds, like maybe Texas or somebody if you want to take a stab at it. But in that way, if one of those team wins, then you win your pool, which is a pretty good strategy. I don't think taking Gonzaga is a good strategy just because there's going to be so many people on Gonzaga. You're just going to have to get lucky in the first 1 or 2 rounds to win your bracket if Gonzaga wins the title. So I don't like taking Gonzaga. They're like the top option in big money pools. But so that's partially the reason I went with Purdue over Michigan.
I like it. Guys.
Right.
And I guess that
All right.
wraps it up. Now I can't wait for
wraps it
tomorrow.
I'll have to edit this. I leave for Vegas at 5 a.m. So hopefully I'll be able to get this up before I leave. So
Have fun, win
If not-
some money.
buddy.
If not, just send me the link or whatever, and then I can do it too because I have off tomorrow.